This poem takes place in 1968, years and years before most of you were born. It's called The Entire Ninth Grade Contra Dances at Carol Waddington's 14th birthday party. Ed Marshall wore a 19th century designed peasant dress that was bunched just inside her snowy shoulders. Anne was my original partner for most of the evening. And I kept thinking that dress didn't stand much of a chance staying up if we met with focused resistance. But Anne's dress wouldn't be falling for some guy into a pool of paisley rayon anytime soon, nor would anyone else's. Someone said the caller was Carol's Uncle Jeff, and there was a family resemblance considering his thin, lanky, gallinaceous frame. The man had a huge grin, and whenever he stepped out to do a demonstration, the top of his head reflected the immense chandelier of the ballroom. Jeff had a pair of silver and black cowboy boots, and wherever he went, he just floated. I want to say moonwalked, but Michael Jackson wouldn't moonwalk for another 15 years. Michael Jackson was still a little kid. Michael Jackson was so young, he was still black, and Martin Luther King would live for another 2 months, unlike Carol's mother, who died of leukemia 2 weeks before the party. And then there was Carol, who during the numerous punch breaks stood blank-faced next to her father. I've seen that look before on kids when they didn't make the baseball team, or the ones left standing in musical chairs. I remember Carol's father always had his arm around her, but I can't remember what she wore. In fact, I can't ever remember talking to her in high school. By 14, she had figured out how to disappear into the wallpaper. But tonight, she was the most famous, like she had just escaped from Red China or won the National Young Teens Figure Skating competition. No kid in that room knew what she knew. My mother told me on my way out, "You say something nice to Carol Waddington tonight, and you let me know what it is when you get home." But I didn't have much of a chance to do it. Even during the numerous punch breaks, Uncle Jeff would amuse us all with rope tricks. The room's high ceiling was perfect, and that man was one ball of fire. But he had to be. He was trying to sell the Virginia reel to a room full of rockers, and we were ready to diverge at any turn. Over ginger ale, Anne and her pals would be mimicking Jimi Hendrix playing guitar behind his back. Anne had just bought Electric Ladyland and already knew most of the words. For my part, I had long, curly blonde hair way over my collar. Still, when the band started jumping, the place exploded with stomping and howls. And yes, Jeff traffic controlled us through the Virginia Reel, the Texas Star, Golden Stairs, the Lady of the Lake. But we ended the evening with a traditional French-Canadian La Bastonnais circle dance, where everyone passes off a partner. And I did get a chance to dance with Carol, who was like a butterfly on her feet, having some of that Contra dance family, I guess. And when it comes to swinging, that girl was airborne. I had strong arms for a kid. I've been working on hay crews, could throw an 80-pounder 5 feet over my head. So I gave her a toss, but Carol launched herself. Did a 360 without touching the floor, winged or cabled, I don't know, way up there past the chandelier, through the roof into the clear, starry, blue-black midwinter night sky. And I felt it too, that time when the world wants you more than you want the world. I swear to you, she was on her way. She would have visited intergalactically, represented Earth at the United Confederation of Astrophysical Beings where mothers never died. And flying antenna mongrel dogs spoke genial, theoretical quantum mechanics. Everybody's ears would be pointed and they wear cool, high-collared space clothes. No musical chairs, no wallpaper, no insolent Jimi Hendrix impersonators. And Carol Waddington would have made it if I hadn't pulled her back down. She would have left that night, and all that ginger punch and Virginia reel and silver boots in the world couldn't bring her back. Carol was almost smiling when she landed, that inside joke smile that I've got 3 aces and 2 kings and you've got nothing smile, smiling like funny was part of her original DNA code. And she could wake up with those halfway grins for the rest of her life without ever revving up. Carol was still smiling when we all queued up to say so long, thank you, and good night. But by the time it was my turn, Mrs. Marshall arrived to give her a hug that was a little too long and a little too tight. I did get my chance to shake hands with Mr. Waddington and Jeff, who reached out and squeezed everybody Bob Dole style with that left hand because he was holding the coiled rope in his right. "Thank you, Mr. Waddington, and I am so sorry," I said, and then watched his face go underwater for a moment, and then come up bobbing. "Yes, thank you, James. It was great having you with us." I walked out into the cold blue-black and got into my mother's cigarette-infused country Squire, and she quizzed me for details on the entire ride home, referred to Ann Marshall as my little friend, and made her laugh about Jimi Hendrix and Uncle Jeff. And I told her, I said I was sorry, but not to Carol. We both had to endure that silence for a while. But I didn't know anything about being sorry. But I do now. And I want to tell you, Carol Waddington, you could leap, smiling girl, kick it higher than anyone I've ever seen. You could have been the great intergalactic representative for Earth. You could have been able to put your arms around every green aurora borealis, blank-faced wallpaper girl, boy, or flying articulate Andromeda dog, standing outside of a circle in the entire post-Big Bang universe. And I'm sorry you never got to wear cool, high-collared space clothes. I'm sorry I pulled you back from the blue-black starry night and the immense crystal ballroom. And Carol Waddington, I'm sorry you lost your mother.